shifting away from your author self, you have just
Yes.
started a new podcast called First Encounter. And
Yes,
it's another podcast that's all historical romance. So
it is.
everyone listening to this should go listen to First Encounter.
Yes. And anyone who is popped in here to hear me, listen to the rest of Catherine's podcast because it's amazing.
What's your concept for First Encounter?
Well, it has a split personality. I'm not going to lie. The tagline, which you kind of read in my bio, is exploring both the foundations and future of historical romance. And I think I have a few aims, but one was that for me personally, I, even though I write in this genre, consider myself newer to it. I haven't grown up reading it like so many people have. I would say started reading it maybe like 5 years ago because I kind of dove back into reading during the pandemic, like so many people did. And so there's a lot of kind of standard books, classics of the genre that I have not read. And so for my own education, kind of figuring out more about how did this genre grow, really understanding the voices and the women that shaped it. I'm reading a lot of these books I've never read before. So that is part of it, is understanding more holistically the genre and expanding my own scope of what I know and am familiar with. So we have one episode a month where we're choosing a book to read, and I'm in discussion with someone about it and kind of deep diving into more of a classic book. So the first month of the podcast, we did Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase because it's kind of considered one of the greatest. So that's one part of it. And the other part, though, is that I also really, being an indie author myself, I want to help bring more visibility and awareness to self-published and indie authors within the genre. It can be really hard to discover new authors, new voices when they're not kind of getting pushed through the same channels as traditionally published authors are. So you're not going to see them talked about on NPR or whatever, right? And so, how do you find these voices and what's happening? We've also seen that traditional publishing isn't lending quite as much support to historical romance currently. And so, a lot of what's happening within the genre, the ways in which it's changing and evolving, is happening in that indie and self published space. So, my other episode a month is going to be a discussion with an indie author who's currently writing an historical romance and kind of discussing both their own work as well as talking about broader topics that affect historical romance specifically, but romance in general as well.
It's exciting. Everyone
Yeah,
should go
it's
listen. Get in from the ground. You can be one of those
yeah,
people who's listened to every
I
episode
know.
because you started from the beginning. So you don't have a huge queue that's
I
overwhelming
don't
you.
have, yeah, no, I started in January and I'm only doing 2 episodes a month because that's all I can handle. I'm really excited about it. And the discussions I've had so far have been great. The books I've read have been fantastic, as I knew they'd be. I think it's great having more spaces specifically to talk about historical romance. And that's why I love your podcast so much because I feel at the moment, this hasn't always been the case, but I feel like at the moment within the broader romance genre, we're kind of maybe we're the wallflowers right now, right? Like we're always going to be invited to the party because, we're just that person that's always going to be there, but we're maybe not the one everyone's super excited about.
Yeah, we're
Feels
just
like,
sitting off in the corner reading our books
yeah,
while everyone else is
yeah.
talking.
Exactly. We're always involved. We're always there. We're important. No one would ever think not to invite us, but we're maybe not the shiny, exciting thing right now. We're not the fun new debutante. It's just a genre I love and I don't want to see it die.